I wanted to tell you the story of how I secured £1,000 in 90 seconds through pitching. If you know what you're talking about, back yourself. You might not realize how much you know about something. The way you speak about yourself is so important. Pitching is so important. Who are you talking to? What do they care about? If you can engage with them on a human level, then you are so much more likely to get the result that you want because you are appealing to them as an individual. Hi everyone, welcome to the Reclaiming Bossy podcast. My name is Mahika and today I want to tell you the story of how I won £1,000 in 90 seconds. Yes, I'm talking all about pitching. So before I explain what pitching is, this month on the podcast is Money Month, and it's a season all about how you in your personal life, in your business, and your career can make more moves in money, have more confidence, have more resources, awareness. And we're doing interviews, and I'm also sharing solo episodes of how I'm building my business, how I'm leveling up my personal finances and my business finances. We're also joined by experts. I'm interviewing a VC, an accountant, a financial advisor, and comment below if you want anything else. So I wanted to tell you the story of how I secured £1,000 in 90 seconds through pitching. Now, this is something that I think every single person should develop as a skill in their life, good pitching. Regardless of whether you run a business or you're working in a salary job, knowing how to talk about your work, who you are, and your story is the most important thing that you can cultivate in this life. This is something that I am actually quite good at now, and I run an agency helping other brands, businesses, and founders do this for themselves, talking about themselves online, offline, and in digital and other spaces that are important in getting kind of the impact, getting the clients, getting the money, getting the investment that they deserve. In my case, this is how I started my business journey. I was at university. I had no idea what I wanted to do next with my life. I was getting rejected from hundreds of jobs and I felt really demoralized. But I decided I want to start an agency to help businesses, founders, brands talk about themselves with more confidence, more clarity, online and offline. Storytelling agency. Now, I didn't have any money to start it. And so I entered this university program to learn how to run a business and make a business plan and kind of take this idea, turn it into a proper business. And at the end of this program was a prize. You had 90 seconds to explain your business idea. And if you won, you'd win some money. There was lots and lots of other founders out there. I think there was 20 that pitched, but there was 100 doing the program with me. And I was terrified. I thought my business was boring. I didn't think I was qualified. I felt all of these thoughts come through my brain and I was like, I am not good enough. I'm not going to win this money. This is stupid. But I recognized that thought and I was like, this is limiting belief. And I wrote it down. And on the other side of the page, I wrote down all of the contrary bits of evidence that I had to that belief. And then I was like, okay, let's make a pitch. And I won this money and I got to have this big check, like a game show. It was great. I loved it. I learned a lot. Now, you've got the context. Let me tell you about how to pitch. First is you need to have a hook. Now, this could be a stat. This could be an emotional hook. This is more around pitching for a pitch competition or for a client or on a call. But let's talk about different ways that this could cater to your life as well for the people who don't have businesses. So you need to have a hook. This is important on social media as well when you're telling your story. This is important when you message the group chat and you're like, oh my God, guys, you never know what happened today. Hook is really important and kind of experiment with different hooks to see what engages your audience because it will depend on the room that you're in. Next, with your business pitch, your business should solve a problem. There's different types of problem. You have people problem, planet problem, and purpose problems. Identifying the kind of problem that you're solving helps get people emotionally involved in your business, in your work. Now, again, online, after the hook, if you've identified a problem for the person that's watching, are you struggling with this? Do you want this? Oh, I'm struggling with this. Like some sort of like kind of conflict in a good story. And then the resolution is what makes it interesting. So how can you bring that problem? When you're going to job interviews, this is something I wish I knew when I was applying for jobs. These companies, these businesses face problems every day. Can you, being on the team, help solve some of those problems? If that is true, then they will really want to work with you because you're giving them value. You're taking away that problem. Next, develop a solution. Talk about how you can give a solution to that problem. There's lots of different types of solutions. There is oxygen solutions, diamond solutions, and aspirin solutions. So oxygen ones are things that you need. Diamond ones are things that you feel good from. And aspirin ones are things that take away pain. Think about, are there places in my business, in my career, in my job, online, that I can help provide solutions to the people that I want to reach. Now, in my pitch, this was talking about how invisibility for businesses is a problem. What is the solution? It's better content, it's better communication, it's better ideas around how to tell your story. So that's the solution that I used, but this can be catered to whatever you want to talk about. It can be dependent on different videos. For example, I was talking about this problem. One of my most viral videos on TikTok is a video I made talking about how no one is dumb, you just need to learn to learn. So the problem was I grew up thinking I was dumb because the regular school curriculum didn't work for my brain. Solution, I figured out that everyone has a different style of learning, and I learned how to learn. And through that, I managed to get really good grades at school, really, really good grades at university, graduate top of my class, teach myself Spanish fluently, develop a business while I was studying, and do so many other things in my life. So again, how can you show that solution and that value? The next bit of advice around pitching, whether it be a pitch for your business, a pitch online, or a pitch to an employer, is talking about who are you reaching? Who is the customer? Who are you thinking about helping? In your business, it's really important to have customer personas of who are you actually trying to target and help. You have to design them out like real people. You need to know what is their morning routine? What do they like to listen to? What is their cry in the car song? What other things do they care about? That is going to help you make sure that you're reaching the right people when you test your solution, because you know what? You might actually want to help a certain group of people, but your solution might not actually be relevant to them. Or you might find that there's new people that care. Same with online. It's so important. When I had this podcast initially, it was just a fun project, but now I have a very specific idea in mind of the kinds of people that I think are listening to this podcast, and we check with the data. Comment down below. Who are you? Where are you from? Where are you listening from? I want to know. Am I right? Because I have my guesses of who's tuning in and who wants to be part of this community, but it's so important that you know who you're talking to. Same with your employers. Who are you talking to? What do they care about? If you can engage with them on a human level, then you are so much more likely to get the result that you want because you are appealing to them as an individual. This is really, really important. Know who you're talking to. Next thing I wrote down is test. So as I said, you can have all of this theory of this is my business, this is who I want to help, this is the problem, this is the solution, or this is the video I want to make, this is the hook, this is the solution, this is who I think is going to like it, or this is the job that I want, this is how I can kind of have a good interview and an application and a CV. But sometimes the theory does not line up with how it actually works. And so that's why we test. In a business, how can you test this idea? How can you go and speak to the people that you want to reach? Do you actually care about this problem? Is the solution interesting to you? With content, try a bunch of different styles. If the one that you want isn't working, can you use the hook in a different format? Can you try addressing a slightly different problem? Can you provide a different solution? What are different things that you can do? With the jobs, if you find the same CV, personal statement, whatever is not working, I should have realized that if I was applying for 100 jobs and nothing was working, there's probably something wrong with the way that I was submitting my application. And yes, there's a grad crisis out there. It's awful. I literally graduated 6 months ago. I know how bad it is out there, but it's so important to test and to iterate. So if something's not working or if something's different to how you envisioned, how can you change it slightly to see if it works better? This is something that's really, really, really important. And the next thing is around how you kind of package all of that up and you talk about your traction. This is talking about why you are the right person, how far you've gone on this journey. And in order to do that, there's so many things that are needed. The confidence of yes, I am the right person. And confidence is really sticky because I think that confidence is like a muscle that's built, and the way that you do the reps of confidence is through evidence. How can you find evidence that you've done it, that you know about what you're talking about, that you care about what you're talking about? With your business, how can you have confidence? There's so many days where I'm I have no clue what I'm doing, I have no clue what I'm talking about, but then I have a folder on my phone of all the little wins that I've accumulated over the last year and a bit. And then I remind myself, I actually do know what I'm talking about. And actually I can go learn if there's something that's a gap in my knowledge, or I can go find someone that can help me. With content, confidence, if you know what you're talking about, back yourself. Go and find the evidence. You might not realize how much you know about something. There's so many things. Everyone has their own area of specific knowledge. You are watching this video, there is something that you know so much about that you are an expert in. Back yourself. Same with a job. Build out that muscle of confidence and finding evidence of why you're the right person for that thing. You have to collect the receipts. You can use an album in your camera roll, you can use a notebook, you can use Notion, you can use whatever system works for you, but build that out. And then in terms of confidence, it's the confidence internally, but also the way that you communicate that. So certain things around body language. There's so many different podcasts out there around communication, how to use different elements, the speed at which you talk, the tempo, the tone, the pitch, how much you change your voice. So like the ups and downs, speaking with downward inflection versus upwards inflection, what that means. Same with hand gestures, same with eye contact. There's so many little tweaks that you can do to communicate confidence and clarity. But it's really important that before you do that, you know exactly why you're talking about what you're talking about. And I think that comes back to a problem. Usually we do things because we want something. But if you take that a layer back and you strip it down, what's something that we don't want? I started my business because I saw there were so many people out there that didn't know how to talk about themselves, and so they were missing out on opportunities. That's not something I want. That's what gets me out of bed to do the work that I do. I started making my videos because I had all these ideas that I wanted to kind of express to people, and I wanted to have fun with it and whatever. Not being seen for that, people not knowing from different experiences, knowledge being gatekept, that's something I didn't want. Same with job, like not having financial security, not having the opportunities, not doing work that I love. That's something that you don't want. And so you can decide what you want and what you don't want and make a really clear picture. And then it makes getting there a lot easier. But the way you speak about yourself is so important. Pitching is so important. The way that you pitch, we are pitching all the time. If you're a business owner, you're pitching all the time. You're pitching to potential customers, pitching to potential investors. We have a special episode on this podcast all about fundraising. I'll link it down below because she raised $2.7 million for her business pre-launch after raising her first round as well. So pitching to customers, pitching to investors, pitching to mentors, pitching to the people in our friends and family that have no idea what we're doing. If you're a human, you're pitching all the time. Pitching to new friendships, pitching to new relationships, pitching to new job opportunities. It's important that you know that you're doing it mindfully and it's kind of lining up with the results that you want. So these are the things that have helped me. It's a skill that I'm continuing to cultivate. It's one that I really love and care about. If someone is watching this and they want some more support and help with this, reach out to me. My email is linked down below and you can slide into my DMs too. But you never know what clarifying and knowing and honing your pitch can do for your life, for your career, and for your journey. I never thought that I would win this money in, 90 seconds? 90 seconds is the length of an ad. 90 seconds is the length of like drinking a glass of water. If you can get money, opportunities, new friendships, new whatever from things like that, then you are increasing your surface area of luck. You are increasing the magic into your life. And that's what I want for you. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found this useful. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions and reach out to me on the podcast Instagram or my Instagram or email. Thank you for listening to this. Go pitch yourself. Pitch yourself in the comments. If there's something that you want to be considered for, or you want to be known for, or you have something to offer, pitch it in the comments. I'm watching. Thank you for listening to this. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.